right, here we go. Episode 2 of Stogey Society Podcast. First of all, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks everybody in the chat for taking time out of your day. And as you can see, we got 2 very special guests today. And I don't mean short bus special, I don't think. But we're really excited to have these guys on. So, I'm going to go around real quick, say who we are. We're going to show what we're smoking, and we'll just jump into this thing. So my name's Matt. I'm with Sober Cigars and, of course, Stogey Society Podcast. We have, which way am I going to go? I'm going to go clockwise. We got DC of Sips and Sticks. Down below him, we got Randall of Cigar Scope. Below, there at the very bottom, last but he's not least, we got Frank. And above Frank, we got Peter of the Cigar Collective and also of Unbanded. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Next to him, we got Matt, Cigar Hound Dog, also a co-host of Infamous. Get into all that and all his stuff, what he's got going on. And above him, the world famous Hugo of Hugo Smokes. So guys, thanks for being here. I got to grab my cigar, got to find it. But what's everybody smoking? DC, let's start with you and go around.
So I know we were trying to go with a spooky one, and I figured I'd scare the shit out of our buddy Peter with this one. It's an Alec Bradley.
Oh.
Is that the Filthy Hooligan? This is the one that Frank sent me. I've had this guy for a little while, and I figured, you know what, it's got a little bit of theme to it, so I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah. I'm
like you. Mine doesn't have a scary theme, but it has kind of a theme. So it's the Espinosa Comfortably Numb Volume 4. Had the Volume 2, haven't had this one. So, hopefully it's good.
Cool. Named after a great song, right? Any Pink Floyd fans?
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Roger Waters, baby.
Mm-hmm. Frank, what do you got?
I'm smoking the Viaje Farmhand Andre. See,
that is spooky.
It's the zombie farmhand, whatever. Hey, it's Halloween theme.
I am smoking a Tatuaje Monster Series. This is the Drac. It's not the full size Drac. It was a Monster Mash release in one of those samplers they did a few years ago. So it's a shorter version of the Drac, but that's what I'll be starting with.
Nice.
Pain. I have the Zhaji Bobby LCA Halloween. I think this is a 2021 release. Roger's favorite, Zhaji Bobby.
They're pretty good. I've had a couple of them. They're not bad.
These are This Halloween is very, very enjoyable. So I picked it.
Nice. I've been curious about those.
How about Google? What are you smoking, bro?
So, I want to have the guests pick. I got a couple choices here. One of them's a Gurkha because that's really scary. I'm kidding.
Oh, we will choose a Gurkha for you, bro.
Heck no. So I got 2 Black Label, the Madonna Negra and the Bishop's Blend, which they're kind of like gothic, so it's like Halloweeny, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the Calaveras 2020, the purple band. If I could see it. If you could see it.
Okay. I don't think I've had that one, the 2020.
Yeah, it's
pretty good. It's pretty good.
So
my pick is the Madonna. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Madonna?
No? No?
I'd go Las Calaveras if I had a gun to my head.
Now we got a
Go Las Cal. Go Las Cal.
Last Cal? All right.
I mean,
Last
you
Cal.
want to have a good time or you want to have a bad time? I mean,
Oh, by the way, the Black Label trading cigars were sent in by Frank.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. I like them. That's.
I haven't had any. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I got to adjust some lighting stuff, but I'm also going with the Las Calaveras, the 2023.
Oh, nice.
I enjoy that one. So it was that or the 22.
Great cigar.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. So anyway, so that's what we all got going on for smokes tonight. So let's just jump right into this thing. So the first question is going to be for both of you. You know, as we know, Matt, you started smoking in around 08. Peter, you were around 2010, 2011 timeframe. And I believe both of you got your channels started roughly around the same time. Matt, I believe 2021, and Peter, I believe around the same time. So what was, and I'll say, and they've obviously expanded from what they were when they started. You know, you guys are doing much more than just reviews now. Both of you have a live show. And you know, lots of followers, lots of viewers, solid content, and people are just really loving it. So when both you got started, what was sort of the motivation behind it? Like, was this just something for fun? Did you have a game plan with it? How to get started? And, or I should say, what was your motivation behind getting it started, and how did it transform into what you guys are doing now? And what do you see for the future? And we'll go ahead and start with Matt.
Well, I guess I started like doing written cigar reviews in like around 2012, 2013, something like that, for a web review site. And then just like over the years, because ever since I started enjoying cigars, ever since I got in the hobby, I've watched Brian Glenn, Cigar Obsession. And like watching him, like, you know, he was always there, very consistent. I liked him just by default because I've been watching him for so long. But one thing that like I've always just was kind of like, I wish he did, was like tell people if he actually liked a cigar or not. Because like he would do, like what I imagine he does what Roger does, except Roger, you can actually glean whether he actually likes a cigar or not. But Brian Glenn, he just talks, like he does an overview. He just says what he thinks about is like the flavors that he's picking up, but he doesn't necessarily talk about the quality of experience. So I was like, you know, I could do that. I might suck for a while, but if I keep at it, I'll get better. And I was like, yeah, I want to be Brian Glenn, except rate cigars. So that's pretty much the impetus of why I started the channel, Cigar Hound Dog.
Nice. And with getting into doing the live show, is that something that just kind of progressed? It just turned into, hey, this will be a good idea. Let's jump in and do this and see where it goes.
That's pretty much just like, let's see what happens. It started as Instagram lives, just because we're all on Instagram, and it's very easy to do. Like, you don't have to coordinate like this. You just hop on and people watch. Yeah, the audience isn't potentially as big with Instagram lives, and also, you know, the interacting with people in the chat is like, you can only see what. No, I guess because it's been a while since I've been on Instagram Live. It's harder to interact with people on Instagram if you're the one broadcasting. So we just said, like, you know what, let's try doing it via YouTube. Our channels are growing. We could have more of a viewership there. Let's try that. And then it started with the New Wave, and then just kind of evolved into the infamous Smoke Show. So, nice. But yeah, it all started just like, let's see what happens. Fuck it, let's see.
Yeah. I like it. And do you see in the future, is there any plans for anything different, or are you just kind of rolling with it and, you know, taking it as it comes?
Essentially, with the state of YouTube right now, it's hard to see growth being something that it's hard to see the show becoming worth our time at a certain point, because we all have different things going on in life. Keelan's doing his thing. You know, he's stepped away. He's backing off from doing live streams. I know DJ, he has a new job. He's busy. Like, Mike's busy. John, he just started his own business. Like, we're all busy doing our own things, and I'm doing stuff with Cigar Hound Dog that's taking up more of my time. But it's pretty much one of those things to where I don't like to put a lot of pressure on it and just kind of let it happen when it happens, because at that point it's genuine. It's not forced. So like, and different people have different approaches. They like to get on guests on the show, like, you know, like industry people. Like this is fine because we're all, you know, friends outside of this. But like to get on industry people to be like a show where, you know, it's like, oh, this week we have Steve Saka, this week we have John Huber. It's like, to me, that's not as, it's still fun, but it's not as fun as just shooting the shit with the friends, you know? So I think it can go somewhere naturally over a certain period of time, but it's just something that I strictly see as being for fun.
Makes sense. Well, Peter, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been smoking pretty much, I don't know, since 2000. Seriously, probably around 2010 is when it started picking up. But it was never anything outside of just picking up sticks for like an event or barbecuing or golfing. You know, I wouldn't say I was dabbling into boutique-y stuff and all that. You know, it was just cigars with the buddies for campfires and just basic stuff. We were enjoying cigars that way. And then, you know, like a lot of us, COVID hit and everyone's trying to figure out how they're going to spend this free time they have now. It's like we're stuck at home. We can't be active with a lot of people. And that's when I really started diving into like the Instagrams, the YouTubes, discovering like Matt and DJ and Michael, like all of the new wave. And then you find other guys. So that's when the collective really started. I believe it was the end of 21, early 22 is when that came on. But I didn't really take the page seriously until probably 23. And that's when I really started to make more friends in the community. And then the Instagram was, let me just log cigars so I know what I'm smoking. Everyone knows I don't really do written reviews or anything like that. I snap a picture. I tell you if I liked it or not.
You're too lazy.
That's pretty much it. Hey, I've been working on
DOT.
I've been working on the YouTube shorts, right? They're coming along.
They're good.
But,
your voice is so soothing, P. So friggin' soothing.
Thank you.
I love it.
Felipe's
I just
been coaching
scroll
me.
through. I know you did great coach for that.
Hopefully you'll get to that level, Felipe's level, but you're getting there.
Never.
You're close, bro.
Never. He's amazing. But that's what's been happening. Like I just started posting more, getting interactive with all the live shows, commenting on, you know, creators' posts, and you naturally just develop.
Trolling.
Yeah, you can do that. PPS. But you naturally just develop you know, friendships, relationships with these people, and before you know it, you're not just waiting for live shows. Like Unbanded, the show that, you know, I host, was born out of the Infamous show. Like, you know, every other Saturday I'd pop in and it's the same dudes and everyone's having conversations, and that's how I met Roger and Felipe. And before you know it, we're talking outside of the show live streams. We're trying to figure out if maybe we can do something because we enjoy the live streams so much. And it just kind of kept evolving for us. And, you know, I hatched the idea of the Unbanded show. And, you know, thankfully they were like, yeah, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And then it's just been unraveling this whole year. And, you know, we've been having a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes. There's even a secret handshake too.
No, don't. No, okay. Don't do it. Don't do it. Knuckleheads.
Oh, gotta love it. No, Unbanded's been fun though too.
Yeah, I think most of us have been on it, and it's just it's a whole new concept that man, it just really hit. Like it's something that we hadn't seen in any podcast prior, and the fact that, you know, it's that, you know, concept of like, hey, what are you getting out of it? But no one knows the cigar, well, except you, right? But
right,
it's fun. I had a blast when I was on, and I know like all the other guys, I'm sure had that too. But I mean, it's such a good concept. And what made you think of that, or like what got you to that point where like, you know what, I'm gonna take off the bands and see if these guys can guess? Like what was your motivation behind that? Like what was your thought process?
Yeah. So it was like I wanted to have a show that had not necessarily structure, but a theme, because there's a lot of shows that are just herfs and they're fine. They're fun and all, but I wanted to engage with the panel. And then the vision was to engage with the people watching. And, you know, later it developed where Tip Top is working with us now to make special packs for the show, and people can purchase them and smoke with the panel and get the same experience and kind of interact the whole length of the show, which made the show, 10 times more fun. But in the beginning, it was like, we need a theme. I don't want to just get on and smoke with my buddies, because you can do that on other platforms. You don't have to go live to do that. But I want it to be interactive. I want it to be a fun show where people can participate. And, I got a lot of inspiration from whiskey. Like, there's a lot of people who do whiskey blinds. A lot of people will get together with their friends. They bring whiskeys. They put them in glasses that are unmarked, and you try to rank the whiskeys or find flavor notes and guess what bottles or what glass, So I'm kind of a bourbon guy too. So for me, I was like, well, that might work if we just send each other cigars, unband them, and then not necessarily, guess the blends perfectly, but, this tastes like a My Father, or, is this Cameroon wrapper, as Felipe likes to say? And, just things like that, where you try to break down a cigar without knowing, because you'll smoke stuff without a band on and you'll love it. And then when you find out what it is, you're like, really? Like, that was the cigar? Or vice versa. Might be a brand you love, take the band off, you're like, that cigar wasn't that good for me. And you find out it was one of your favorites. Yeah. So that was the whole theme of the show, is to kind of build something around the community, make like an unbanded community where everyone can share in the same experience.
And it's crazy how when you have that band off and you don't know what it is, how it changes that experience. Like, you've had some on there that are $40 to $50, and everybody's been like, C and B tier. And then a $15 to $18 one is getting like an A and an S tier. It's wild.
Yeah, yeah. When you remove all the barriers, and it's just, you're smoking with your buddies, we're having a conversation too, so it's not like you're too dialed into the cigar, but that's how most people enjoy cigars, right? You get a cigar, you're smoking with your buddies, and then at the end of the cigar, you're like, hey man, I really like that. But you can get nerdy about it too. You can go all Carpenter on us and get a whiteboard out and start writing shit down like a nerd. But some of us are just there to have a good time and be like, yeah, it was a pretty good cigar.
Carpenter is an encyclopedia,
dude,
when it comes to cigars.
Yeah, I think he was a perfect addition to that dynamic y'all had.
Yep.
Because he's of course he has that knowledge. Plus he's more direct. He's one of those guys that just shoots from the hip, and he's just tells you how it is, and so I think that he was a perfect addition to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just happened naturally. Like, originally it was just Felipe, myself, and Roger, and then I've known Mike through IG for about a year, and then he's always in the lives. We asked him to be our first guest, like 10 episodes in, and then he filled in a few guest spots along the way, and it was just like, why aren't you on the show? You're pretty much always here, and we like you. So, yeah, it was a perfect fit for us.
Heck yeah, I like it.
So going back to the Cigars Unbanded, who has been the one that has guessed the correct cigar the most? I know. I knew the answer, right? I've seen it, right? But
yeah. Outside of Hound Dog, who guesses pretty regularly, the guy has smoked everything, so he kind of just knows, right? For some reason, everything sticks in Matt's brain. Mike, when he wasn't on the show, super good at guessing. And then JB actually has a really good knack for kind of nailing things down in the chat. So, yeah.
Now, Matt, when you have been smoking something unbanded and you're trying to guess it, does it kind of, when you're smoking it, is it like, whoa, I know this? And then is it kind of drive you nuts for a little bit until you're like, oh, this is what it is?
I guess the fucker before he even lit it up. Like, I guess, dude, like the last, I pissed off Peter so bad. Like, I pissed off Pete because he doesn't, I understand why, but like, in a private setting, I love to do it. I love to prod Peter. But the last, was it last week or the week before?
2 weeks
the Alfonso.
Ago. 2 weeks ago.
Okay. The Alfonso. I was like, this cigar looks very, very well constructed and has a beautiful, beautiful Connecticut shade wrapper. oh, look at this. I have a cigar that looks the exact same in my humidor. So I took a picture of the number 2 unbanded cigar along with what it was, like the same cigar. And it's like side by side. I'm like, I didn't say anything. I just like let it sit there.
It sat there all right. I was bubbling.
It's sat, yeah. Yeah. But I'd say half the time, not say over half the time, it's just the shape and the size and the look of the cigar. That's actually probably the biggest thing for me before even lighting it up. And then like flavor wise, it could kind of make it more confusing. Just because different things get into my head. There's that one Edición de Aniversario, the Don Carlos that we did for Mike's episode. That was a very, very good cigar. But the time I had it before, I didn't enjoy it nearly as much. Something about the one that night just hit my palate really well, or it's like that cigar was just better. So there could be instances like that too, where I smoke the cigar and then like I kind of trip myself out. But yeah, it's just and also just reviewing so much over 3 years, having so many reviews. I've smoked a lot. Like I have, just a wide net of like experience, not trying to boast, but it's just like, it is what it is. Like having the channel, like one of the things that I do is just try new things all the time. That's the main focus of the channel, is to smoke different shit,
Matt's the reason I try to get Toros for everything, just because it's like, it's harder to guess a Toro when it's in your hand than, double perfecto or something.
Yeah.
So everybody knew that Gurkha, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody knew that stupid Gurkha.
I had to try.
Hey, Matt, would you say you film more, or smoke more cigars on video or off, or does it kind of fluctuate depending on the week, or how's that work out?
I'd say it fluctuates depending on the week. The time I get to smoke the most are the live streams. And I'm still on camera, but it's passive. It's chilling. I'd say for the most part, I am on camera more than I'm not on camera, enjoying a cigar, having a cigar.
Does that change it for you at all?
I thought it would at some point. I thought it would feel like work at some point. And there are times where it's like, I got to get a review in. I got to, keep up with a schedule. But I always just in the back of my head just think like all I'm doing is just smoking, literally chilling, smoking a cigar, shooting shit at a camera and talking about it. Like it's not work. Like there's much harder things to do. Like this is a passion of love. Like this is something that I just love to do just because I'm OCD in this very particular way. So
what's up, Roger?
What about you, Peter?
I mean, since most of my stuff is just I grab a quick picture, or if there's a cigar I want to make a short for, I shoot the video in the beginning. Like I'm not one of those guys who like takes video as the thirds go on. Like to me, I want to get that out of the way. So like when I light up the cigar and I have like a half inch of ash on it, I'll take a picture and then it's just me smoking the cigar, relaxing. Or the same thing, if I'm going to shoot a short, like I'll get, a little bit of ash on it so it looks decent in a video shot, take the minute clip and then sit back and relax. So yeah, for me, it's I'm going to be smoking anyway, so I might as well take the picture for the IG. And if it's a cigar, I'm like, hey, I don't think I've seen someone make a video on this or review it. I'll throw that up on YouTube.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How's everybody's cigars right now?
Cigar check.
Ooh.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I love the Los
enjoying this
Calaveras 23, so I'm having a good time with that.
Good choice on this
volume 4 is
2020.
better.
Mm.
Oh, no, not from what you were saying. Sorry about that. I meant better than volume 2.
I have a question on your guys' collection. When did you actually start building your collections? Anybody can go first, Matt or Peter.
Go ahead, Matt.
I've had the same humidor since 2008. So, but I mean, it depends on what your definition of a collection is. It's like I've had cigars like in my possession for, a long time. But actually, I guess holding on to sticks for long lengths of time, probably like 2016, just because like I had more money. I started to get more money and didn't have to like, buy a box at a time and just smoke through that box or whatever, buy singles and save singles for later. Like, you get at a certain point in life, it's harder to allocate funds to certain things. Like when, like I started cigars at 21, I had no fucking money, like, but now in my 30s, it's a lot easier to like buy cigars and just forget about them, and you're collecting at that point,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you saw 2006. You said
I started in 2008.
2016.
Yeah, I started in 2008, but I probably started like actually like collecting, like holding on to stuff, and like have the convenience and have the ability to hold on to stuff probably around 2016.
So 8 years, or wait, yeah, right, 8 years. That's cool. Yeah, that's a long time. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I never really had anything outside of a desktop humidor for a long time, and it was just 20-ish cigars, pick up a few, smoke a few, and then rotate them like that. And then around 2019, 2020, when I started to dabble more into like boutique stuff, and like Matt said, when you're younger, you can't afford buying large volumes of cigars, and then it becomes, all right, I got some money now, I can, instead of buying a couple singles, I can buy a box, and I can sit on a box if I like these cigars. So probably around 2019, 2020, that's when that started happening. And then it was, I mean, it's a fucking slippery slope, right? Before you know it, you're buying boxes, you can't smoke them as fast as you're acquiring them, and now you're buying, stuff online, and people are sending you stuff. Like the past 2 to 3 years of like Cigar Collective has just been a shit show, because it's I have to stop myself from buying a lot of boxes. Like FOMO is a real thing, especially with like LEs and all these limiteds that come out from your favorite brands. You don't want to miss them, right? Because the one you don't pick up, someone's going to be like, that was the best one in years. So it's like, you got to be selective now. But yeah, I mean, I probably have 20 something Tupperdoors full, a couple thousand cigars. It's a disaster.
Yeah, we've seen. I don't know about a disaster. I think it's a beautiful disaster.
Sure.
Beautiful disaster.
Organized at least, right?
It's very organized.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, if you don't mind me asking, I know it's a little bit of a touchy subject, but I wanted to ask you about the strike on YouTube. How's that going? What's the latest on it?
I think we figured it out. It's been a very stressful week, trying to figure out what it was and why it's happening, and like if it's just going to be like the end, which I see Terrence in the chat. I got to give Terrence a huge what up, because he's helped me a lot too with like talking through things and going through possibilities, and then also connecting me with Tim, with Cigars Daily Tim. And Tim had He had like the best news and the shittiest news, because the best news, because he was very confident as to what it was, and it made a lot of sense, and he explained it very, very eloquently, and spelled it out for me. And it's shitty. It's the worst news, because that means literally all of my videos, all 600 plus videos, reviews that I've done, are affected and are just huge liabilities. Wow. So yeah,
does that mean you're moving everything?
Well, it means I'll either be, because in YouTube you can go into a video that you've posted and edit and like cut certain things out. My idea right now, my plan, because when you get a strike on YouTube, it's my understanding, I could be wrong, but it's my understanding that because you can't post for a week. You're essentially banned from YouTube for a week, from posting, from doing any sort of creative content creation. So during that time, if you get another strike, it's not strike 2, it's your first strike. that's still within that week window. So I got another strike during this week, but it still counted it as strike one, which is great because 3 strikes are out. But because it's still within that week window, it's still counted as strike one. So I essentially deleted all of my videos that weren't already age restricted, which means videos that YouTube hasn't already scanned, just because they're liabilities, because they're more likely for YouTube to scan. So, which doesn't really matter at this point because we're still within the week window. If I got another strike, it would just still be strike one. The video would be deleted, whatever. But I just went ahead and deleted them anyways. But once the strike is lifted Saturday night, I believe Saturday night, so I can post again. But at that point, if I do get another strike on one of my videos that's already age restricted, that means that's strike 2. So before, it's like kind of like a ticking time bomb. Before Saturday night, I need to go through all of my videos and edit all of them or delete them. So I have it. So I can't get a second strike after the week strike. The week temporary ban's up.
Wow.
So and what it was, you know, I don't think it'll matter since it's whatever. My email. I can't have my email on my reviews. Anything, Tim explained it very well. I probably won't do it as well as him, but he explained it. Anything that is a controlled substance, you can talk about it on YouTube. You can review it on YouTube. You can review tobacco on YouTube. But when it comes to adding a conduit for personal contact, because they want to mitigate any potential sale, like via telephone number, you can't have your phone number. And apparently something I didn't know, you also can't have your email, which is, a potential conduit to facilitate a trade or sale, which YouTube doesn't want, which I understand. I completely understand. It makes complete sense now that I know that it's crazy to me that I got away with it for 3 years. I just think because the timing lined up so well, the day I hit 25,000 subscribers, that night I got my first strike. I just think that like the channel just grew to a point where it's like, all right, let's really look at this guy now. Let's really scan these videos. So yeah, whatever you guys do on YouTube, don't be a dumbass like me. Keep your email, keep any like personal contact off of that shit. In the description, anywhere in your video, embedded in your video, don't do it. Keep it off.
So does that include like the Instagram and like, say like if on the YouTube, like I want to link the Society podcast, does that also constitute a
being a third party site to YouTube? I don't think it has any effects. Like you can because there's no sale of tobacco on Instagram, so you can, it's just a social media platform. You can post whatever you want. Obviously Instagram has their own rules and you can't break those rules. Like people can't sell tobacco on there. If they do, they get dinged on Instagram. So third party social media sites like Instagram, like Twitter, like, Rumble, whatever, you're fine. It's just like, you can't link to your own website if you sell tobacco or promote the sale of tobacco. So like even Michael Prisdale, he has a site and he doesn't sell cigars, but he did have an ad for a certain retailer on his site. So he got a strike because of that, because the bots crawled that, they crawled the website, they saw the ad, they gave him a strike.
Wow.
So yeah, so even with mine, because at some point with my website, I plan to have ads. I plan to monetize the website to a certain degree. I'm not going to talk about my website, and if I do, I'm going to do it in a very smart way and do certain things to add parameters to make sure that YouTube can't just go in and take a look at things.
Gotcha.
If I do that.
So if we're able to plug it right now, I think there's a way that you're going to be posting videos, right? It's just not going to be on here.
Well, I've been posting my videos to my site. Like, it's just, you can probably guess what I don't know if you probably shouldn't say it just because there is, something on there right now, but just, it's my site. You can figure if you can't figure out what my site is, you probably shouldn't be smoking cigars. You know. I think you muted yourself, DC.
I did just right now.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm trying to help you out and like saying it. You know, we got a pretty good amount of viewers. We got 17 right now. Thank you guys. 17 likes as well. That's awesome. But I want to make sure, you know, we don't want to lose you, man. So like we want to make sure that we can help out. I already told you if I can do something to help out, do one of my cool little videos. I'm more than willing to jump in and help out with that, man, just in case it does happen. So for sure.
Thank you, dude. And yeah, I see Terrence. Even he made this point to me last night. Even if like somebody in your comment section, because people, one of the things I always get asked all the time on my videos is like, where can I buy this cigar? That necessarily won't trigger anything. But if a bot crawls the comments and like somebody responds and says, you can get them at this place, that could trigger the bot to reprimand you as the content creator. So if you see that, if you create videos and if you see that, no offense to the person commenting, but delete that comment.
Makes sense.
We're gonna grab this portion of the video and then repost that so like it helps everyone out. That's awesome. That's like good advice right there, man.
Thank you.
Now, does it seem like YouTube, specifically YouTube, has been cracking down more on cigar content? And is it cigar content, or is it just tobacco as a whole, and we're just ringed into the whole tobacco thing?
As far as my understanding, it's ATF, mostly the T and F. With alcohol, they're, you know, it is what it is. It's a lot more socially accepted. YouTube can put ads of alcohol on videos. It's just, you know, they're not hitting the bourbon channels. They're not hitting that kind of thing. They're hitting the firearm channels. They're hitting the tobacco channels because those are things that aren't marketable for them. And yeah, I've been hearing about a lot of channels getting reprimanded, a lot of cigar channels, a lot of cigar content creators. And it is what it is. I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing per YouTube. I can't speak for everybody, but I can only imagine they're doing something within the eyes of YouTube that they shouldn't have been doing. It is what it is. And like, we can still exist on this platform. We just all have to play by their rules. And the reason I do that is because this is the biggest video sharing platform. Like that's the biggest reason why I want to stay here, is because there's the most people on here. YouTube is the best app for video sharing. Rumble, it's an option, but Rumble sucks. It's it's so clunky. It's so like, there's not a lot of people there. The ads are freaking weird and always have some geezed out people on there just babbling about something. You know, Rumble's there as an option, as like a last resort, in my opinion. But as far as like getting people who actually will like interact and like comments, like you see Brian Glenn on there, he gets like maybe 2,000 views sometimes, 1.5 thousand views, and he's been on Rumble for like 2 years. And he's like, he was the biggest, you know, guy with cigar reviews. And then you look at his comment section, it's almost a ghost town. There's nobody on Rumble. Like, in my opinion, it's not worth the trouble for me at this point to invest much time in a Rumble. Before YouTube, you can mirror your content to Rumble and it'll just automatically upload to Rumble from YouTube. And that's fine. That's great because it was automatic. But they stopped that late last year. And because of that, it just hasn't been worth it to go out of my way to upload to Rumble consistently. It just, the views aren't there. The engagement isn't there.
Makes sense. Not worth the time.
So is that why now you created your website and now you're starting to put the videos on there as well?
I'm going to try and thread the needle here. For as long as I can stay on YouTube, I'm going to do my best to facilitate. I'm going to do my best to facilitate for people to be aware of my website. Because like I said, I'm going to probably delete a lot of content on my YouTube channel, but all of my content will still be on my site. You know, so I'm going to have to do a couple of things to make sure that I can't get dinged by YouTube again, especially within these next 90 days, because now is going to be like a 90-day probationary period with YouTube after the first strike. If that 90 days goes by and I don't get another strike, that means the first strike goes away and it's back to square one. Then it's 1, 2, 3 again, which is great. It just takes 90 days. So probably within these next 90 days, I'm going to create the infrastructure on my website to make sure I can talk about it safely and get people to go there without, getting the ire of YouTube again.
I've noticed the crackdown as well. It feels like there's like a new group of people like looking into that stuff. I had a video deleted, but it was an older video and I broke the rules. So I was like, no harm. Like they gave me a warning, but yeah.
And that's the thing. They'll give you a warning, which is like, it's a good indicator that more's to come, with YouTube. If you continuously do something that they don't like with me and putting my email on the videos. So you just kind of got to look at trends and you have to look at what they're looking at. And they don't, if they only said what exactly they deleted the video for, like if they gave me an exact explanation, it would have solved so much stress. Like if they said, we deleted this video and we gave you a strike because you had your email in here. They don't say that. They just say you infringed on the sale, promoting the sale of a controlled substance. That's all they said. Very broad, very vague.
Wow. So then it's up to you as the creator to figure it out why it got, geez.
Which makes it
just guess.
Which makes it nerve-wracking, right? Like if they just came to us and said, hey, can you please address this? It would be so much easier. Yeah, no problem. Obviously, we don't want to break any rules here. We all want to coexist. Like, yeah, I can fix that in a couple of days. I'll go through all my videos, edit what I need to do, take links down. Like that's seems reasonable to me. But the fact that they keep it so vague, it's almost like they want the cards stacked against you for whenever they want to change the rules and they can just do it.
It could be that. I think mostly it's just because there's such a gigantic company and there's so many people on this platform that their policing is, in my opinion, not as up to snuff as it should be, in my opinion. Because a lot of these people, like a lot bigger than me, like their careers are ruined because they've built up a base and they're doing something that they didn't know was wrong. And they get, 3 strikes, you're out, which is just nerve wracking. I'm usually a pretty chilled, like go with the flow, easygoing guy. This last week, my anxiety has been like, as an adult, my anxiety has been like at an all-time high, just trying to figure out what the hell's happening.
Well, that's what's great about having, being so into the community and knowing people like Terrence who can kind of help you out and get that figured out.
Huge. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like Terrence, salt of the earth, amazing guy, super fun to chill with, super fun to talk to. And then, Tim, just a dude who's like, he said, he's like, I was one of the better content creators. Like he's like, you make good content. And that meant coming from that guy who's like, I'm Cigar Hound Dog, but he's the top dog. He's the head honcho when it comes to cigar content on YouTube, in my opinion. So hearing that from that man meant a fuck ton to me. And just like the fact that he would take time out of his day, because he's called me twice after I'd text him or after I'd reach out, he would call me back and he would talk to me for like 10 minutes, like on the phone, just going over shit. And like part of it's because, and he said this, like, we are such a niche group of people who do this, who actually give a fuck, who actually want to play by the rules. Because I'm not here trying to sell cigars. I'm not here trying to, add links and make a quick buck. Like he knows that like I'm here because I have a passion for this. There could be ways to make money down the line and make a living off this down the line. But right now it's about building the base. And he sees that, and he sees like he's not trying to make a quick buck. He's just trying to promulgate the hobby and be a voice within this community And I think he appreciated that. And that just him taking the time, him just, reaching out and responding to me, taking the time to respond to me, just meant a shit ton. And then also his expertise and him like pinpointing and giving me the best idea and a very confident idea as to what's happening, and just telling me and spelling it out for me. You're doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. Change it if you want to stay alive, if you want to stay afloat. But yeah, it's a very, and there's very few people to commiserate with this kind of thing. So I think, to have that kind of individual to talk to and kind of level with, because he's gone through stresses too with this thing. And this is like, he's I think 311,000 subscribers. Like, obviously he has other things that he does, but his YouTube channel probably isn't a tiny part of what he does. It's probably huge because his channel's huge. Yeah. So nothing but props to that guy. And just to take the time for a small guppy like me, that meant the world. Meant the freaking world.
You keep saying small guppy and little guy, and you got 25,000 followers, man. I'm about to.
You're the shark you're the shark in this group. We're the guppies.
Yeah.
In the cigar community, maybe not, but like, dude, YouTube, 25,000 subscribers, that's a drop in the bucket. Like, good point, but it's like, you got to look at things in perspective, I guess. Like, that's the best thing to do. And like within the cigar community, because our videos don't get pushed, or at least they don't get pushed nearly as much. Like, I'm not going to see any of my videos get like 1 million views. It's not going to happen. Just our videos just aren't the kind of content that YouTube's going to back and like throw into the algorithm. Just, it's not. It is what it is. And like, we know that going into it, that cigars, not only is cigar content niche, but like cigars in general are niche. Not many people smoke cigars. It's what's it like 10% of guys enjoy cigars, 10% of half the population like passively enjoy cigars. Like, us are the hobbyists, the nerds, like we're like a fraction of that, that actually would go out of their way to view content and watch content related to cigars. That's a teeny bit of the population.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter's still here. I forgot about him. Hey,
what's up, man? I'm just learning, dude. I'm just learning. Just like
we're all learning.
Peter, your YouTube, you're new on YouTube, right? You've just had before just the Instagram, correct? So you haven't dealt with any of the strikes and any of that. Have you ever had any issues on Instagram? I assume not, but
I've had posts deleted before, but with no explanation. I'd make a post that morning and then notice it's not there in the afternoon. I'm like, well, I know I didn't take it down. That's happened a handful of times in the past few years. And then with the shorts, I mean, I'm so new on YouTube with the shorts. I've had a few things age restricted, but no strikes, no nonsense like that. But I'm so small, I doubt they're gunning for me. Like Matt said, when he hit 25K, it must have triggered something where it was like, oh, this guy's got some subs. Let's take a look. Like, even unbanded, we're only at like, I don't know, 700 something subscribers. So I think we're too small right now, but it doesn't bode well for us as a community if, they start going down the line and they're like, well, let's look at Hound Dog and who's he associated with, or who's another guy that does similar content. So it's really good that we can all kind of learn from this and kind of protect our community, because it's just going to take a couple idiots that start promoting stores or promoting, the sale of something somewhere. And then it's going to be like, you know what, let's just deal with all these cigar guys and clean house. So hopefully everyone listens to what's happening to Matt, kind of examines what's going on with their own channels, their pages, and kind of listens up to play by the same rules.
And that's the good thing right now, is that people now have someone they can turn to. Like, Matt, you were able to turn to Tim, right? And like, we now can turn to you and Peter, and we have that support system. And again, even if people that don't know you, I'm sure if they were to ask you a question, or like you don't know them, whatever, if they were to ask you a question, I'm sure you would take your time and at least let them know, hey, this is the reason why, which is a good thing because you know, coming into the cigar like YouTube and stuff like that, I looked honestly, Matt, you were the first one that I ever really saw, and I remember the first video I saw was a humidor tour where you had your little humidor on top of the counter on your kitchen, and I was like, man, that's so cool. Like that's kind of like how I wanted my humidor. My wife said, "Fuck no," but that's what I wanted. But you know, that's the good part is that like I never in my life thought I get to like have you as a someone I can turn to and ask questions and friend. You know, that is such an amazing thing with and how close knit the cigar community is. So I know like I may speak for myself only, but thank you. I mean, we appreciate what you do for this community, man. It's such a cool thing.
We're trying to thrive, and when we can't thrive, we try to survive. You know, so that we're all just trying to enjoy the hobby. Like my favorite thing to do out of all this right here is my favorite thing. Like I think I was talking to Sal and Terrence in the secret chat last night. I was like, guys, all I want to do right now is just chill and hang out with my buddies and just smoke cigars, whether it be online, whether it be in person. It is better in person, obviously. You know, it just is what it is. This is a phenomenal tool, though. Like the internet, and people can talk crap on YouTube. It is what it is. Their policing system could be, in my opinion, it could use a little work as far as like how they police their content. But at the same time, it brings us all together. And for that, I love YouTube. I like the vast majority of the content that I digest is YouTube in general. Just like not just cigars, but like just generally, I love YouTube. I watch mostly YouTube.
Yep.
How are we doing on cigars, guys? We haven't checked in a minute.
I'm like halfway.
Yeah, I'm
really enjoying this.
I'm in my final third, smoking quick, I guess. Maybe I'm just excited for what's to finish out the evening. Little maple shadows. Oh yeah,
look at this dude. Look at these dudes.
I knew. Yeah, we got a Dracula. Now this pipe is called a Dracula for Halloween, so I figured it was fitting, you know. And I'm smoking Scarecrow, which is a warped blend, so kind of cigar themed still, but you know, it's very tasty.
That is really cool.
Warped actually makes really good pipe tobacco.
They do.
Is Cigar Hound Dog ever gonna be pipe dog?
Wow, that
Have you ever tried it, Matt? Have you ever tried the pipe tobacco, or is it just not your
I'm too lazy.
lazy. Has Peter tried to push you into it?
Yeah, set it and forget it. Light that shit. Like even like this, I'm having to relight this, and this is too much of a nuisance for me. It's like get fucking trying to tamper a pipe and fucking pack into that shit, and it's just give me a cigar.
For me, it would be the cleaning of the damn pipe. I don't think I would ever do it.
It's pretty easy, man. It's like a 2-step process.
I get that they have the pipe cleaner. I just want to fucking just light it and go. I don't feel like I'm just like that, man. But
just get a Stillwell. Same damn thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Great cigar.
Delicious. So Peter, I think we're the only pipe guys on here. DC, Randall, Hugo, do you guys know?
Not gonna happen.
No.
Peter
I'm lazy, man. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
We'll start our own channel, Peter. We'll talk.
It's a gentleman's thing, Matt. You know what I mean? It's these young guys, once they mature a little bit more in their lives, you know. Well,
excuse me.
Besides you, Frank. Besides you.
But yeah,
Peter Piping Collective.
Peter Piper. I like it.
I think Frank might be the youngest on this cast, man. Or is it DC?
Who's the youngest?
Not bad.
How old are you, DC? Or do you want to give that information?
I'm 40. I'm fine. I'm handsome and 40, man. I don't care.
You just turned 40 recently too.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm 44, so
I'm 35.
43.
I'm the oldest of the
There
group
you
here.
go.
I like this live stream better. I think I'm gonna leave unbanded. I feel young here. I like this.
So
Well,
I
you
will.
go ahead,
no,
Randall.
no.
Or-
Oh, I was just gonna say. I will say to both Peter and Matt. Man, almost any cigar I light up, if I look into it first, one or both of you have reviewed it in some way.
Mhm.
So that's really cool. In fact, it's to the point where there's so much content. It actually took me a while to subscribe because I didn't realize I was subscribed. You know, I mean, I wasn't subscribed. You know what I mean? Like it would pop
Right.
up again, like YouTube would go, "Oh, you watch a lot of this guy's stuff," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me," because you know, you go to your For You page or whatever. It's like, "Oh, Hound Dog's got something out there," or you're on Instagram. "Oh, Peter, he gave this an A tier. Check this one out."
Yeah.
So that's kind of a thing too. It's kind of cool.
Now-
Well,
So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
I was just gonna say it's a blessing and a curse to do that, right? Because you know, when I wasn't doing the collective thing, I was mostly just curating all those cigars that I liked, and you know, that's fun. You smoke what you like every single day. But then once I started collective, it's like, well, people were asking me, "Have you tried this? Have you tried that?" And it's like, I'm not so much smoking the things I enjoy to smoke all the time, but I'm trying a lot of cigars. Either people recommend, friends, or someone was like, "You got to try this." So yeah, over the past few years, it's been more of like buying a lot of not obscure stuff, but just stuff that wasn't in my wheelhouse, which is great. It develops your palate. You find stuff you probably wouldn't have found other ways, and that's part of the journey. No one's ever gonna like that cigar, Matt. No one's ever gonna like that cigar.
Spooky.
But yeah, that's the fun part about being like a influencer, or you know, someone who puts themselves out on social media. Like, you find cigars that you wouldn't smoke normally, and then people convince you to smoke other cigars, and it just leads you further down the rabbit hole of developing your palate, which is great. And it's a lot of fun because you never know what you're going to stumble, you know, across when you're in a humidor. So now I'm looking for things I would never look for.
So
What's
go,
up? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Frank.
so with that, so do y'all ever like look at? Cause on my Instagram, I see so many of these companies that are starting up and have their own cigar, and I've taken it upon myself to like now. I've been reaching out to a lot of these little smaller companies and buying their cigars and you know smoking them, and some of them are pretty good. Have you all like tried cigars that maybe aren't as mainstream? I know like y'all have your favorite blends or like favorite brands. Like I know Peter Dunbarton, but do y'all ever like look into like some of these newer ones and like, hey, let me go ahead and give them a shot or try something that's not as mainstream as what everyone else smokes? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll go first. I usually only grab stuff in my B&M or a few like online shops. So if it's a really boutique-y startup, like I won't go out of my way to try to pick it up just because they're harder to find. Sometimes, like, unless someone really recommends it to me or sends it to me. If you send me something, I'm going to smoke it and let you know how it goes. But as far as like really small startups, I usually wait to see if a company starts to develop and like blossom, because there's so many cigars coming out. There's so many companies start. I feel like, you know, every month there's a new brand that comes out, and it's like you can't keep track of all these companies. And I'm sure some of their cigars are great, but it's like, let me see how some of these newer companies develop. And then, you know, if they got some staying power, if people are smoking their stuff and recommending it, I'll check it out. But unless I see it face to face in a store, I probably won't pick up really boutique stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly just about like where this cigar is made, what factory it comes from, and like what I think I will like and what I think people might like to watch, which usually is just, you know, not a lot of like super boutique-y, like what's the guy's name? Big D 505. That guy, he's everything he smokes is a stuff I've never heard of. I'm like, where do you find this stuff, dude? It could be good. It could be good stuff, but for me, it's like part of the success of what I do, like for me to be successful, is to get people to view me. And part of that is like, I'm going to get more views doing a Davidoff review over doing like a Jaji Bobby review. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. So like, I'm not out there like seeking out super small boutique stuff. If it does come up, great. Like I had the Hyperion by El Titan. It's a small batch exclusive. That cigar is freaking amazing. So pretty much like when it comes to like small boutique stuff, did you guys hear that?
That was me. That was me. That was totally me.
But you know, that's pretty much as like boutique-y as I, off the top of my head, like El Titan is probably like boutique, like the smallest boutique.
That's a big band, man.
That kind of led me to a question I wanted to ask you guys. Was the you know, for guys that are just starting their journey, I've talked to a few guys, and I wish they would have told me to stay away from Gurkhas, but nobody warned me.
I told you, DC.
The fuck we didn't, bro.
We all did.
Like, just a little bit of advice you would give some guys, like, besides stay away from the cigar, like, how would you introduce them into a cigar if they want to get into it?
Oliva is a great, very approachable brand. They make a couple that are great, that are extremely enjoyable cigars, but across the board, they just make very solid, inoffensive cigars. The G, the O, the Connecticut Reserve, just great stuff. And yeah, it's freaking Terrence, Tupperdoors. Don't dick with a humidor. Don't dick with a desktop, whatever. Don't waste the money. You're not wasting the money, but if you're new to the hobby and you think you may be getting into it, get a gasket lined Tupperdoor, a rubber gasket lined Tupperdoor. That's $10, 15, 20, whatever. Like, it's cheap. Like Tupperdoors and brands that are like dependable, reliable, like Oliva, Perdomo, like shit that's not going to break the bank.
Yeah, Oliva was one of the first brands that really hooked me. It was one of my first box buys was Melanio V's. Great cigar, and they're not hard to find. But if I have to pick another brand, I mean, another brand that I really love, you can find them pretty much anywhere, is Plasencia. I mean, just a lot of good blends, something for everybody. Not necessarily Connecticut shade stuff. I mean, they're 146 Cosecha if you could still find it, but I don't think there's a lot of nicotine in those cigars as it is. So you can taste the darker wrappers, the Maduros, or the Claro is a nice shade as well. But for me, I try to steer people towards that. For advice-wise for beginner,
towards broadleaf. What are you talking?
Well, I mean, I'll shove a Saka cigar in anyone's hand if they have it out. I mean, you know me. If I can get anyone to smoke a Mi Querida, I'll do it. But I'll definitely.
Here's a Saka cod.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, they're freaking huge cigars. Yeah.
But Tupperdoors are huge, man, because I feel like I went from desktop humidor and I outgrew it, and then I went to electric, need ones, and I had like 4 of those at one point, and they were all maxed out. I was like, what am I doing here? I went to Tupperdoors a few years ago. Bovedas all the way. Don't bother with distilled water. Make it as easy as you can. It might not be the prettiest thing to have Tupperdoors. Stick them in a closet, but they work great. You can't go wrong. And
or have a few thousand organized shelf Tupperdoors. Yeah. No big deal, right?
No big deal. No big deal.
Is there anything like you have to do to a Tupperdoor that normally you don't have to do, like with the desktop or an electric?
So, I mean, if your temperature is in pretty stable condition, I keep my stuff in my basement. We're in New England. My basement, it's at like 66 to 68 degrees all year. So temperature is never an issue for me. Mm-hmm. And my Bovedas, I get lower RH Bovedas because Tupperdoor seals so well that you don't need anything above a 65. Like I use mostly 58s and 62s and everything.
Yeah.
And that keeps everything around low 60s for me. But people say you should burp your tupperwares every once in a while. All that means is open them up, get some fresh air in there, shuffle around your cigars a little bit and then fill them back up. That's like every few weeks, a month, if you think about it. I'm in my tupperwares all the time because I'm a dork and I like to shuffle around my cigars as much as possible. That's like part of the fun ritual for me, and it just makes it super easy when you have tupperwares. It's a really easy, inexpensive way to save your money and buy more cigars, especially if you're starting out. Like tupperwares are dirt cheap. You don't have to go crazy and get something nice wood finished. If you want a nice desktop for like your office or something, I use a really nice one for my dry box. Like that's really where my nice desktop tupperware is, or regular desktop, humidor. But other than that, make it easy for yourself, man. Don't stress it out. Cigars are resilient.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah, cigars are resilient. It's really hard to mess them up unless you just fucking over humidify and leave them in like the sun. You know what I mean? Just it's not that hard.
Cigars are a lot more resilient than people think they are. And that's another thing to keep in mind. Like you can have cigars in a bag without humidification for like a month and it's not going to be a big deal. Like they're not going to dry out as long as the bag's sealed, as long as they're not like out in the sunlight, like soaking in sunlight, they're fine. Like if they're Connecticut shade, maybe a little bit more of a risk because it's a more brittle wrapper. But for the most part, people tend to use kids gloves too much, in my opinion, with cigars.
Yeah. Well, you hear all these horror stories about plume and mold and cigar beetles, and that's where like when I first started, I literally had to I kept checking, I kept opening my humidor, twisting all my cigars around, keeping them in the cello, and it's like. Because you're paying whatever it is per cigar, you don't want anything to happen to them. So that's you hear all these bad things, but it's true. Like honestly, my tupperware and even my humidor, I don't even really mess with it. I literally just swap out the bulb of the pack and hey, I'm good for another 3 or 4 months, and or even more sometimes,
Yeah. As long as your tupperware or humidor is like below 75 degrees, you have nothing to worry about, in my opinion. Like from my experience, I've never had mold outbreaks or whatever. If you're in a place to where it's like your ambient temperature is inside is above 80. For one, that sucks. Like, use your fucking air conditioner. Like, come on, like, you cheap ass. But yeah, as long as your conditions are livable, if your conditions are livable for you, they're livable for your cigars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree.
Like Terrence's comment in there, where you guys are saying that cigars are resilient. He already says they already start off 2 years old, so they're a lot stronger than we think too. So.
That's very true.
Pretty good advice you guys are giving. That's awesome.
Well, it's like the mil dias. I mean, it's kind of proves how long those cigars are from the time they're manufactured to the time you get them. I mean, there's so many days out there. That's probably more than 2 years. Sometimes even 3 years before you even get them.
And if you're buying reputable cigars.
Yeah.
They take precautions to freeze the tobacco, kill any beetles that might possibly be there. Like they take steps in that process to hopefully, solve any issues you might have later down the line. But if you straight up neglect your cigars, you're gonna have issues.
Don't most New World companies they all have like a freezing process they go through, or am I thinking wrong?
I think
I don't know the exact number, but I know a good number of them do.
Yeah, I would say a majority do than don't have steps and process to eliminate that.
Yeah,
I think it's a requirement, especially because everything's made like outside the U.S., like Nicaragua, Dominican Republic. They have to freeze them before shipping out. and then once you get them, they're thawed out or whatever. But I have a question for Cigar Hound Dog and Peter. Going back to your collection, now that you have so many cigars, and I know that you blind bought so many boxes, would you change that? If you had the opportunity to change that, would you go back and say like, nah, I don't really need this? Like, what percentage of your cigar collection would you say like, I should have chilled on this and I shouldn't have bought this?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a phase where I was just buying a ton of boxes to start a collection. And I would tell anyone starting off, like, if you try a cigar and you like it, buy a couple of them. And if you revisit it and you still like it, then buy a box. 5-packs are great. Don't feel like you got to buy everything under the sun. I know a lot of us collect stuff, whether it's cards or whatever. Guys like to collect stuff, bourbons, and you feel like if you don't have a substantial collection, like it's not whatever, it's not cool enough, or you just want to have cool shit as a guy.
Yeah.
Take your time, because there's new cigars coming out every week, and you're gonna want to try them and buy them. And it's like, it's okay to miss releases. Like, it's fine, especially if you make friends in the community who also acquire a lot of cigars. I know a lot of us send cigars to each other. It's like, hey man, I didn't pick up that release. Can you send me some? I'm like, yeah, dude. They're like, do you want anything? I got this. Yeah, sure. I didn't pick that up. So it's cool in this space where you start making friends with people and you can share your collections, which is awesome. But yeah, definitely don't feel like you need to just buy a ton of stuff. I have cigars that I'll never get to. Like, I have more cigars. If I stop buying cigars today and I just smoked, I could probably go a really long time without buying cigars, which is cool. I get to age them, right? And I get to share them later down the line, because that's one of my favorite parts of the hobby is sharing cigars. Like, for me, I love trying cigars, finding something I like, and then sharing it with the community, with people who are in the space, reviewing. So you just got to do things in moderation. Sometimes it's not easy, and I'm talking to myself right now, kind of, so it gets drilled back in my head to keep doing that. But it gets out of control quick.
Bro.
So you would think about it twice, like if you had the.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What about
I
you,
should have
Matt?
bought some more 5-packs instead of boxes, for sure.
Okay.
Pretty much just gonna echo what Peter said. Like, fucking everybody knows about the Espinosa Chef Special 24. I went very very deep on that. So they are getting better though. I had one last week. It was very good.
Uh-huh.
So, whether I'm making myself believe that because I'm stuck with them or not, I don't know. But I had a good experience last week. 5-packs. Buy a single, buy 5-packs. If you're into the hobby of cigars, your palate enough to where if you buy any amount, there's a good chance you're gonna like it more than not. It's more rare for me to like blind buy a 5-pack and not like a cigar, or like down the line, like say if the first one's not that good, because we're all nerds. Like when we get cigars in, it's hard to when we get multiple of one cigar in, it's hard to not try it very soon after getting them in off the truck. It's hard to hold off. So just trust your gut, trust your instincts. If you feel like a release is coming out that's like rare, and usually rare means expensive, allocate your money appropriately, allocate your funds appropriately, and just use your best judgment.
With that being said, though, if you find a cigar you really like, you better get it, because when they stop making it, you're going to kick yourself in the ass for not buying a few more boxes.
So
that's true. Yeah.
So with that, what cigar has been that for you guys? The one you're like, damn, I should have bought like 8 boxes of it, or the whole, crate of them. You know what I mean?
I mean, recently for me, it's been a hard cigar to acquire, and it's getting harder and harder because it was a 22 release. But the Ethifal from Plasencia was a very limited release, and it's not a cheap cigar, so buying a box is rough. But it's harder and harder to find them. So like, if that's a cigar you love and you stumble across it, like just bite the bullet and get it, because they're not making more of them.
And that was a really good cigar too.
Yeah.
I don't get that much just because. Jesus, sorry. Just because there's always something new coming out. Like if I'm not able to acquire a certain amount of a cigar that I really like, that sucks. But once again, Peter exists. Peter has fucking everything. If I need more, it's be hey, you got more Golden Childs? Hey, fucker. You know,
I do.
He does, and he does.
I do.
So there's always something new coming out with cigars. With nerds like us, there's always another shiny new object to look at. You know.
But another box of Atabey Blacks wouldn't hurt right now.
Oy. And I think Greg said not till next year now.
I hope he's wrong.
Yeah.
And those the Atabey Blacks are going to be a yearly release, right?
Supposedly, yeah. But they did release earlier this year, so who knows if they're going to release later this year.
And does anybody have any insight on if it's going to be the same blend? Like, should it be the same Atabey Black coming out?
I don't think anything's changed. I don't think the size or Vital, like nothing's changed. I'm pretty sure they hit a home run and they know it. So I'd be very surprised unless they add a different SKU, like a different Vitola to it. But I think we're going to get the same thing.
Nice.
They should make a Lancero. Hell yeah.
I was thinking like a torpedo. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, that's good too. Double perfecto.
Whoa. Talking dirty to me now, Hugo.
That's for the after hours chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Coming down,
It's everybody's
coming down to the
cigar
wire
hat.
here.
Yeah.
I had a Toro, so I'm still kind of like getting into the final third here.
yeah, mine's the same over here.
I don't even think Peter finished his monster. Did you finish it, Peter? Or you just?
Did you like that one, Peter? You like that one, right?
I'm smoking through the Monster Mash right now, and the beginning of it was pretty good. The face, the Drac, the Frank, like those are the best ones. And then thank you, because after those three, it's been a shit show to get through. Yeah.
You're doing God's work, Peter. You're doing God's work.
I hope he remembers that. I hope he does.
Hey, I'm just kind of curious, and this is really for everybody here. Did anybody think that getting into cigars, the enjoyment of cigars, would lead to being on a YouTube stream? Because I can tell you, for me, I did not. I just thought when I got into cigars, it was just for that decompression time, get away from, I love my family, you know what I mean? But it's like the me time, the quiet time. Let me reflect on the day, the week, whatever. I never thought it was going to be this. I never thought it'd be, there's a new LE coming out. What is it? I never thought it would be what it is for me now. What about everybody here? DC?
Not even close, dude. I got invited to a small group with Hugo and like 4 other guys and thought it was just going to be that. And then didn't realize Hugo was a really cool guy and people wanted to hang out with him. And then kind of, I'm being sarcastic, bro. You're not that cool. But no, yeah, I honestly didn't think it was going to blow up into something like this. And then it just it's taken its way, which has been nice.
Yeah, I think Hugo was the one that kind of brought, me into this whole group with everybody, and I know we joke around with Hugo, but I wouldn't have met the majority of these people without Hugo, UDC or some of the other guys we talked to. Enzo was one that he's such a cool guy, and again, I wouldn't
big foo.
Yeah, big foo. And I wouldn't have been able to meet people like that and be where we're at now with this podcast, again because of Google and also you guys as well. being added to the Cigars Unbanded Discord and the Cigar Hound Dog Discord, and you get to meet all these different people that, man, some of them have such interesting lives and have such interesting cigars. Like, there's a couple of guys out there that have, I mean, like, they're buying boxes and boxes of Cubans and high-end cigars. You're like, man, dang, I'm living my life wrong.
Yeah, it's a good glimpse into like everyone in the hobby, right? You got your newbies that you're like helping along and kind of sharing some knowledge with. And then even as a guy who's been smoking for a while, you got guys on the opposite spectrum that are like really the collective, and you see some shit that people are buying. You're like, oh shit. Like I am not where I thought it was in this ranking, but that's what makes it fun, because the cigar brings everyone together. And usually, 98% of the time, those guys are pretty cool. And they'll talk to you, take you under their wing, share their knowledge, and no one's, tilting up their nose to you. Everyone's just on the even playing field and just wants to enjoy the cigars that they have.
Yeah. I just started YouTube just because I was bored, and I had no like ultimate goal other than just to like put my opinion out there. And like I said before, like I didn't think it would come to the point to where I'd like be chatting with people video, like, like a Zoom call online. I never thought that. And people would actually want to watch it. I never thought that'd be the case, but it's fun. It's for me, cigars are therapy. It's time to reflect. It's time to chat with your best friends, and the people who I know in my life, who I consider to be the best friends in my life, are people I know through cigars. They are fellow cigar smokers, and friends who I've had for nearly 20 years are friends who I know by mostly, like, we got into cigars together, or we met at a lounge and we've just known each other for like a decade plus because of that. It's just you meet similar people, and Sal talks about this all the time. You meet similar people. If you're a good person and you put good energy out there, you'll get the same in return. And like, that's just it, for whatever reason, that's the vast majority of people who enjoy cigars.
I also think conversation just flows more naturally when you have something else to kind of like focus on. Like the conversation, obviously you're focused on, but when two people are more sitting around smoking cigars too, it's like less of that kind of awkwardness on the in between, especially if it's someone you're meeting in a lounge or something and you don't have much to talk about. It's like the silence is golden too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a good icebreaker.
Yeah. Equalizer.
Yeah, I think that Peter was the one that really closed the gap between like Cigar Hound Dog, and all these new wave guys, and he was the one that brought kind of like, because to me it was like Cigar Hound Dog was like, oh, can't reach him, and then they started talking, and then he started doing like lives with them and stuff like that. So I appreciate Peter bringing these cigar reviewers that everybody looks up to, and bringing them to a place where like they're approachable. So thank you, Peter, for doing that. Just want to say that.
Yeah, man. It's that's the main goal of Unbanded. Like we don't bring brands on. We might in the future, but it's like I want to bring in people who are doing what we're doing, and whether that's an episode of Unbanded with you, or Cigars with Friends, or Burning Benjis, like all these little fun little shows we're kind of brainstorming together. The panels are always different. Usually it's like one or two or three of the same guys, but the other five guys are different dudes who are all kind of doing the same thing we are. And it's fun to learn about them, what they're getting with the cigars. Like, it was the same thing when I started, Hugo. When I started, it was in the infamous chat, New Wave back then. And I remember just being friends with people through DMs. Like Matt and I would DM maybe once a month, right? But I'm in the chat. He's reading the chat more. He sees me in there. You form that
Who's this
friendship.
creep? Who's this creep with like the hand? What the fuck does this guy look like?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because my first live ever, like I had no live experience, no like
Deer
I'm gonna do a show.
Deer in the fucking headlights.
Matt's like, you want to be on Infamous? I was like, like live? We're gonna go live? And he's like, yeah. Here's the link. We'll see you Saturday. And I'm like, oh fuck, like, deer in the headlights, and it was a lot of fun, and it felt natural. It's that lounge experience. Everyone's just bullshitting and having a good time. So you have that idea where it's like, oh, these reviewers who have been doing it for a while are like above me, but then you DM them or reach out to them, and they're just literally talking to you like a normal dude. I remember Michael Prisdale. I had some questions for him, and he DM'd me within like 2 minutes. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Yeah. And he's helped a bunch of us. Like, I know he's helped Felipe, and he answers questions for Roger. Like, you might see the sub count and think these guys are ahead of you or wouldn't want to hang out with you because you're down here, you're just starting off on your journey. But as soon as you message these guys, like most of the people in the space, it's like you get responses right away. And that's what makes it cool. Like Hugo said, everyone just kind of forms together and you form a larger community, which helps out everybody's community, So it's really cool. And I'm glad you guys have all been enjoying like the content we've been making, whether it's New Waves or Unbanded, because, all of you guys are in our chat, and, we obviously want to do the same for you and be in your chat and support your new venture and, help any way we can. So it's, rising tide lifts all ships, and that's where we're at.
Well,
agreed. Agreed, Terrence.
Before we move forward, it's there's one thing. It looks like somebody got in a little late, didn't see the conversation we have earlier. Rashid, we cannot give you information here, but if you DM a few of us here on Instagram, more than happy to help you out, man. But
for sure,
we're being careful with that, dude. But we want to help you out. So yeah,
trust us. We have several pages you can find good cigars at a decent price and not hiked up. Just reach out to any of us, man. We got you.
Yeah,
that's probably that's probably a YouTube employee trying to trip us up. They're like, there's Hound Dog. Let's see.
They found Matt. They're like, oh, there he is.
Yeah. nice try, mofo. Nice try.
Well, before we wrap up, we have a few minutes. Does anybody watching have any questions for either of our guests or any of us?
There was a question for, I think it's Texas Cigar Society, because they said TCS. It was something about a brand. Texas asked it. Texas Taurus. Let me go back over here.
Wants to know where you get your shirts from.
Oh, here we go.
So we have a little cigar lounge in San Antonio. It's called Finks, and they have their house blends, but they have so many, and they're so good, and they're very inexpensive. And yes, I have tried several other house blends, and they're good, man. They're worth it. But again, but Finks has been around for a long time, so they've been making cigars for years and years, so they have that already down.
So a question for you guys, like what inspired you guys to make, your own little podcast / video live? Like what was it that you guys felt like, hey, let's try this out too? Because it's a lot of fun, right? Lives are,
it really
to
is.
me, are the best part of doing this is you get to hang out with your buddies on screen, and then, how many ever people are in the chat, they couldn't get to a lounge, but they're probably all smoking in their backyards, and they get to interact with us. Like what was your inspiration behind the whole thing?
So I mean, I'll start first. For me, I just wanted for us to get something going where we can all chat on a weekly basis on a live, answer questions. I also wanted to bring in brand owners, different brands that maybe aren't as well known, so that we can kind of shed light on some of these lesser known brands, and we can talk about them, and also have guests that people want to see. Like we've reached out to several lounge owners and other content creators that are out there, that some even have their own cigar brands. So we want to kind of shed light on that, and also kind of have a herb style, like basically a podcast that we can just feel comfortable, have people feel comfortable talking about cigars and just shooting the shit and kind of just going with the flow of the cigar thing. So I reached out to these guys, and I mean, like, I know I may have had the idea to start it, but if it wasn't for these guys, it wouldn't have materialized where we're at now. And again, also watching The Infamous, watching Cigars Unbanded, watching all these other groups that have these podcasts, you're like, man, they have such a good rapport within their group of buddies. I just felt like that's something that I wanted to have. And people have know Ugo from his YouTube, and he does go live, and Matt's still getting his channel going. So, but like, you talk to him, and we've done the video herfs on Discord or wherever, and like, he's such a cool guy, and it's always good to like hear what he's saying. And I want people to like be able to see that. Randall, again, I started watching his content before I started posting too. So like, Randall's been out for a little longer than I have. So like, he has a different way of talking about the cigars and different ways. And again, and then Dan, he's such a good friend. He's so motivated, and he's willing to learn. And so that's kind of where I wanted this to go.
Yeah.
And but I mean, like, again, if it wasn't for these guys, I don't think this plan would have come through as good as it has been for these couple episodes, 2 episodes.
I was told I was brought on because of the looks, but that's cool too.
Well, that, and also I accidentally was messaging someone else, and I forgot. I forgot to change the chat. Oh, it's Dan. Damn it! No, it is, man. It's just, that's kind of why I felt like I wanted to start something like that, man. It's just watching you guys have a good time with everybody, and it's just.
Yeah, the lives are totally fun, totally different than making regular content. It's kind of like you can just ease into it, chat with your buddies, build a little community, and it's fun to do because most of us would be smoking on a Wednesday night anyway, right? So it's like, why not fire up the cameras and do it with some other people?
Trying to fill up the week with everyone, man. We know there's other people that have different days of the week, and I mean, I think there's another group that we don't really care about. We're trying to take that spot.
I heard you wanted Thursdays at 9:15, bro. That's what I heard.
Is that a potato on your wrist? What is that thing? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, those are knuckles, bro. Knuckles. A lot of punches have been thrown in hockey rinks.
Oh man, those poor kids.
Well, hey, we are at the hour and 33 minute mark. So let's go around and see if anybody see what everybody's got coming out. Any final comments, concerns, all that good stuff. DC, let's start with you.
I got nothing, dude. I just drew a blank on.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
reels.
Yeah, I got reels coming out. I unboxings coming out. You can skip me.
Well, I just want to say congratulations on both of y'all's success. I mean, obviously we all watch y'all's content, and it's very good and everything. And I'm really happy y'all chose to come on the show and everything. And congratulations to Frank for the 3,000 on Insta, Ugo for 500 on YouTube, and everybody who's
Matt for the 25K.
Yeah, Matt for 25K, and I mean, I love seeing all these guys thrive because, met none of y'all in person, but I mean, we talk all the time. So it's like, it's really cool.
Yeah. I'll go next, I guess. Yeah. So just more reviews coming on YouTube. Our next week, I'm excited. We are having our first brand owner. We're doing Silent Hero Cigars. And it's a veteran-owned cigar brand, and I've been talking to the owner, and he's such a cool guy, and it's going to be a good episode. I've chatted with him I chatted with him last night. In fact, it's going to be a good episode to to watch, and we have a lot more content, a lot more people coming on, special guests, co-hosts. We're trying to do as much as we can to include everybody. I know, it's hard to have a podcast and not bring up everybody, but we will.
Nice. I'll go next. Tomorrow is Cigars Unbanded. Every Thursday we go live 9:15 Eastern. We'll be smoking cigar number 3 from the Tip Top pack. And I think for the second cigar, we usually try to smoke the same brand. We're doing Fuente tomorrow, so I got an Opus X Shark lined up for tomorrow, and hopefully we see you guys there. Even if you don't have the pack, show up and smoke along with us. It's a good time.
Definitely.
For me, my ban is lifted Saturday night, which means I could post a review Sunday. So reviews will be coming back on Sunday. Yeah,
there
thanks, DC. That's tight. Woof. Infamous every other Friday. Infamous Smoke Show every other Friday. I think we have. What's his name? From Blackbird.
Jonas
from Blackbird. He's coming up at some point soon. I think early November we'll have Jonas from Blackbird on. Yeah, that's it. The Hound will be released Saturday night. Can come back
out of the dog pound.
Yeah, out of the pound.
He's been getting pounded. Is what he's getting.
Hey, Matt, your intro. That's a. Is that a Hemingway classic, or what that your hound dog is gunning for?
That's a Hoy de Monterrey Elegantes.
Oh, is it? Okay. I was always trying to look. I was trying to look at it. I was like, what is that?
And I just used that. I used a Cuban because I didn't want to have any sort of copyright. Because at the time, I didn't know. I was like, I'm just going to make sure that there's going to be nobody in the United States who can mess with me, just in case if they wanted to. Because I had no idea. So I'm like, I'm going to use something that people can't get here. Habanos.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Hugo?
Tomorrow's Thursday, but Friday, got my Friday morning live and got more content coming up. And I actually realized that on November 6th, which is going to be a Wednesday also, I'm going to be celebrating, I think, 1 year that I posted my first actual video on YouTube. So that'll be fun with you guys.
Nice.
Yeah, it's another milestone to celebrate. And I also want to thank Cigar Hound Dog and the Cigar Collective for joining us. And it was a perfect timing what happened with Matt because, we're all active in the YouTube cigar community. And, you gave great information tonight. It's going to help all of us. And it's going to help all of us keep the streams going as well. So that's good. And again, thank you guys for joining.
Thanks
for having us, man.
So what Hugo's saying is November 6th, that episode is going to be about Hugo.
Yeah.
Special guest, Hugo.
The whole thing. I love it.
That's bougie night.
I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be like this. What's up?
That's all you need, bro. Just you. That's it.
Sing the praises. But for me on my Sober Cigars Instagram, just my typical throwing out a few real reviews, if you will. But I'm working on trying to get some YouTube stuff because you can't get your thoughts in a minute and a half on a reel. So, eventually I'll start getting some YouTube stuff out there. I'll probably go back
for it, dude. You have the voice for it, bro. Fucking use the voice, bro. You got it.
Figure might as well.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I'm excited to start working on some of that. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys again for being here. Thank you everybody in the chat for tuning in. Those of you watching the replay of this, once we get the replay up, thank you for watching as well. And that's all we got. It's bedtime.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Hey,
All right, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
This chinchilla is delicious. Delicious
End
chinchilla.
it.
Peter.
End the stream.
Beautiful.
Fucking end the stream.
Take it
Shut it
easy.